Start our regular session. Summer, will you call us to roll? Just call roll.
Commissioner Patterson?
Here.
Commissioner Norwood?
Here.
Commissioner Siragusa?
Here.
Commissioner Roberts?
Here.
Commissioner Stallings?
Here.
Commissioner Orr?
Here.
And Mayor Mason.
Here.
All present.
Our invocation tonight will be done by Reverend Vera Porter. There she is. And then our flag salute, if you'll remain standing, will be by Colonel Matt Ashcroft. So please stand.
City Council people and citizens, let us go together to our Creator in unity tonight. God, bless Enid, Oklahoma, this city that we love. Bless these council persons, Lord, that they will make decisions that will benefit our city. Help us to come together in agreement and in unity, and let you make the call for each of us, that we might live together in a city that's prosperous, in a city whose God is the Lord. And in unity, can you all pray together to our Father? Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Be seated. Thank you. Item 3.1, consider approval of minutes of the regular commission meeting of April 2nd, 2024.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Please cast your ballots. Motion passes. No, she's not going to vote yet.
Oh, that's
She's
right.
not.
Yes,
Yeah.
sorry.
So the motion passes 6-0. Item number 4.1, the present pet available for adoption at the city's animal welfare department.
Good evening, guys. I changed it up a little bit. I always bring a dog, and I brought a kitty today. This poor little girl, she got surrendered today. She's about 8.5 months old. Her name's Tulip. She's a mixed breed. Sweet little girl, a little shy right now, unsure of herself, but very, very sweet. She is, it's okay, sweet girl. She is dog friendly. She lived with the Huskies, so, and Huskies are pretty high strung. So she's gonna be in pen 2. She is a female. I don't know whether she's fixed or not yet. But she can, if she gets adopted, she can go to the SPCA and get fixed through the program, free voucher, microchipped, and her shot will be free. And thank you, and you guys have a great night.
Thank you.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you. 4.2, I've got just a few things I was wanting to say before we get started. First of all, tonight is the last night that Colonel Matt Ashcroft will be with us. And I know you told me not to say anything, so I won't. But been here a couple years. Got to know Colonel Ashcroft quite a bit just from being at all the graduations and the different events. And our city has been better because you were here. And thank you so much. I know you've got another assignment and a wife that's waiting up in Washington, D.C. So safe travels. Thank you for being here, and thank you for being part of our community.
Thank you, Mayor.
Another thing I wanted to mention, and I intended to at the meeting 2 weeks ago, and I'll be honest, I just got busy and I passed it up. I got to see and read about our police department, Chief Skaggs, on a shooting that happened out at Lowe's, something we never want to happen. The piece I was so amazed by on that was after that had happened, your team responded, provided services for the person that had been shot, and captured that person within 30 minutes. I think that is absolutely remarkable. And I know in this day and age, it's very easy to talk about all the bad things in the world that are going on and challenges that we have. But you know what? I'm proud of our police department, just as I know you're proud of your team. So please convey that to all of them. We appreciate what they do. You do it understaffed and keep us safe. So thank you. Thank you very much. You know, to sit here tonight and say this community has had some challenges over the last several months would be an absolute understatement. We've had to face some issues and some challenges that other communities have not and hopefully never will. I've listened to voice messages sent to me from all over the United States that were so vile, so vulgar, and so racist that I could not even share those with my wife. Voice messages from people who watched a 2-minute clip on TV and then formed an opinion about an issue and about a community, our community, they knew nothing about. I saw our city being painted as something we were not by individuals and by groups who did not know us. You know, communities develop reputations over time just like companies do and just like individuals do. And those reputations have an impact. It can have a positive impact or it can have a very negative impact. When companies make statements or take actions that we don't agree with, we choose to not shop or do business with those companies. The same thing applies to a reputation of a city. Individuals can choose to shop elsewhere. Companies looking to relocate choose other communities. And military installations can decide if a community is a good community for their military families to live and send their kids to school here. But just when you start to think, how will we find a way out of this situation, something begins to happen. People start to wake up, people start to speak up and say, wait a minute, what I'm hearing does not describe me, it does not describe my family, and it does not describe my community. And while I know that our community is not perfect, I do believe the majority of our citizens are always looking for ways to make it a better place, more accessible to all, and more than anything, a community absent of hate. I want our community to know, and I want you to hear it directly from me, that we will not allow our reputation to be tarnished, and we will not create a situation where businesses, their families, and their employees may choose not to relocate to Enid because they may not feel welcome. I fully recognize that we will never all see things the same way. And that's perfectly okay because we're a democracy. We can vote on that. But I do hope that we can turn the page tonight on this chapter and start focusing again on the items and the issues that will continue to have a positive impact on our city. Continuing creating an environment to generate more jobs, develop more affordable housing, and to ensure we continue to have a community where families want to raise their children here in Enid. I want you to know that I'm proud of our residents. I'm proud of our businesses and our business owners, and I am very proud that I get to call Enid my home. It is an absolute honor to have been elected to serve as your mayor, and it now gives me great pleasure to swear into office our newly elected Ward 1 Commissioner, Ms. Cheryl Patterson. Go right here in the center.
Right behind the podium.
Yeah. Cheryl, first of all, thank you for agreeing to serve. It's tough when you run for an office. You put yourself out there. People get to say anything they want, whether it's true or not. And you've got to have pretty thick skin sometimes and a good family, and I know that you do. So what I'd like you to do is raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I'm just kidding. I, Cheryl Patterson,
Do solemnly swear that I will support,
do solemnly swear that I will support,
obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States
obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Oklahoma,
and the Constitution of the State of Oklahoma,
and that I will not knowingly receive,
and that I will not knowingly receive,
directly or indirectly, any money or other valuable things
directly or indirectly, any money or other valuable things
for the performance or non-performance of any act of duty
for the performance or non-performance of any act or duty
pertaining to my office,
pertaining to my office,
other than the compensation allowed by law.
other than the compensation allowed by law.
I further swear that I will faithfully
I further swear that I will faithfully
discharge my duties as Ward 1 Commissioner
discharge my duties as Ward 1 Commissioner
of the City of Enid to the best of my ability.
of the City of Enid to the best of my ability.
Congratulations and welcome. Commissioner, now you get to push the buttons on everything up here. So, okay, 4.4, recognize City of Enid Employee of the Month for April. Gerald?
Yeah, it's my pleasure to recognize Josh Huey. Josh, would you come on up? And Kelly, would you come on up? Josh works in our utility services of the billing department. Kelly is the supervisor. Josh has been with us for a while, and congratulations, sir. You have been chosen the Employee of the Month for April. So I know I've just gotten to know you just a little bit, and from my perspective, you just take care of customers. But I'm going to let Kelly, who works with you every day, talk about how wonderful you are.
Of course. So if you have had to call about your bill or come in and do anything probably about your water bill, there's probably a pretty good chance that this guy right here has probably helped you. He's usually the first person to get up and help somebody answer a call, even with me and with his coworkers. If he's not busy doing something, he wants to know what else he can do. So we really appreciate having you, Josh. He's just been great to work with all around. I'd say he's pretty much just a rock star.
Well, thank you so much, sir.
Thanks again for your service.
Can I get a picture of that? Can you step on the side of the microphone?
Oh, this side.
Perfect. Yep, okay. Good, brother microphone. There we go. Perfect. Yeah, you're good. Swap, whatever works. Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
Item 4.5, recognize the second place world champion trap shooters from the recent Northwest Builders event.
Yeah, Scott, would you go ahead and bring all the other champion or second place folks up there.
Maybe world champion is a bit dramatic, but
Yes. Scott will go up there with the group and tell you a little bit more about it, but I want to tell you that one of our efforts over the past several years in working to be more business-friendly in our processes working with businesses, we've reached out and become members of the Northwest Builders Group. One of the things they do once a year is have a social event, and they like to shoot and trap. And so we put together a team with these second-place champion shooters here. Why don't you guys talk about it, and you guys shoot straight, so.
you know, it's a great opportunity just to get our code officials and our inspectors with our builders and just go enjoy ourselves and have some fun and make it where it's not about business all of the time, and it just does a lot of good for everyone to just relax around one another, establish some relationships, and for them to know that we're here and we're going to work to find solutions, and we can go have fun together, and we can be around guns, and everything's fun, and it's a good idea, you know, it's great. So we had an excellent time shooting, and there were 6 teams. We were concerned we might not win a plaque, and they kept giving out the plaques, and we thought, oh, maybe we were 6th place, but we got 2nd place, and Tiffany was the top female shooter of the whole competition. So. Thank you.
Well done.
Okay. I've got 2 proclamations that I'd like to read. I'm going to ask David Hunter, wherever there you are, right there. And then after that, I'm going to ask Mandy O'Day, if she's in the audience, to come up. So.
And I'm gonna apologize because I'm supposed to have the shirt that several of our commissioners have. I got off a plane a little while ago and I couldn't find it in my office. Oh, there's my shirt. But we do have a lot going on from environmental. It's spring, things are growing. Earth Day is next week. The week after that, first week of May, we are going to be having a hazardous waste pickup. So if you have anything in your barn, in your garage that you want to get rid of, we'll take it for free and get rid of it for you. This year, because of how we're doing with the state, they actually just paid for last year, so we're doing it for free, so no impact to the city budget. So that's also a good thing. But we wanted to have fun with it, so it's May 4th, so May the 4th be with you as you drop off your trash with us. And then, I just wanted to say, as far as Drinking Water Week, it's kind of significant that our Employee of the Month has to deal with water, and it's an important thing. And I think Commissioner Morwood said it last meeting. There's a lot of things that Enid is doing to invest in the future of Enid, because when the people don't want that big city feel for Oklahoma, Edmond, Stillwater, wherever, I think you're going to see them coming here, and we're preparing now for the people who want to come. And the water is one of the things, and it's one thing that we take for granted. And our commission understands the importance of not taking that for granted. So, thank you.
Okay. It is Drinking Water Week in Enid, and you're right, we can't wait till the faucet goes dry before we dig the well, right? So we've got to start now. So, whereas water is our most valuable natural resource, and whereas drinking water serves a vital role in the daily life, serving an essential purpose to health, hydration, and hygiene needs for the quality of life our residents enjoy, and whereas tap water delivers public health protection, fire protection, support for our economy, and the quality of life we enjoy, and whereas the hard work performed by the entire water sector designating capital projects, operators ensuring the safety and quality of drinking water, or a member of a pipe crew maintaining the infrastructure communities rely on to transport high-quality drinking water from its source to the consumer's tap, and whereas the corona pandemic has shone a light on the importance of drinking water for health, hydration, and hygiene needs, and whereas we are all stewards of the water infrastructure upon which current and future generations depend, and whereas the residents of our city are called upon to help protect our source of water from pollution and practice water conservation, now therefore I, David M. Mason, do hereby proclaim May the 5th through May the 11th of 2024 as Drinking Water Week in Enid, Oklahoma. So thank you, David. Thank you for everything that your team does. We do appreciate it. Hi, Mandy. How are you? Good. Good to see you. Glad you're here.
Thank you.
Do you want to talk before or after?
It doesn't matter with me.
Okay. Well, let me go ahead and read it.
I'll let you get yours
Okay.
over with so I can get mine compiled in my head because I'm not prepared.
I hear you. So our next proclamation has to do with Arbor Day.
Yes.
So whereas trees increase property value, enhance economy, vitality of business areas, and beautify our community, and whereas trees reduce the erosion of topsoil, provide shade, clean the air, produce life-giving oxygen, provide habitat for wildlife, and are a source of joy and spiritual renewal, and whereas on January the 4th, 1872, I did not know this person, J. Sterling Morton proposed a tree planting holiday to be called Arbor Day, and whereas Arbor Day celebrates the role of trees in our lives and promotes tree planting and care, now therefore I, David M. Mason, Mayor of the City of Enid, do hereby proclaim April the 26th, 2024 as Arbor Day. So, thank you.
In honor of Arbor Day this year, our Enid Tree Board is going to be celebrating by planting 2 trees at the corner of Leona Mitchell and Garriott at the Southern Heights sign. I think it's just going to be a really awesome way to beautify that little corner. Trees are just amazing. The best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The second best time is today. So the public is welcome to come out and celebrate Arbor Day with us. It's at 11 o'clock next Friday, April 26th. So I think that is it. So thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Mayor.
Okay. We had concluded all the items on the study session, so I'm going to pass over 4.8. 4.9, consider an appointment to the Fire Civil Service Commission. And I believe we have 2 candidates that have applied for that. For those that are here or the candidates for the first time that may not know, I'll call your name. I ask you to come up to the podium. We don't put a time limit on this. Just try to explain to us why you think that you would be the best candidate. So I will start with Dalen McVeigh.
Thanks, guys, for having me. I think I pretty much know all of you. I've been chairman of the chamber. I've been on the police civil service commission. I've done, I like to be on as many boards in town that I can. I love this town. It's something that I think that I'd be interested in doing. So I'd be interested in taking this position. So if you guys are interested in that, then that'd be great. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Our second and last candidate is Michael Sommerfeld.
I want to thank the City Commission for considering my application for the Fire Civil Service Council. I considered several different ways of organizing my presentation. I thought I could say a lot of things about what I've done and what I want to do and what the future might look like. And then I remembered the first rule of public speaking: remember your audience. And so I thought I would try to keep this short and sweet and just give you a chronological overview of my experience and then step away and let you guys decide. I have been closely associated with fire departments for 20 years of my life. I was an emergency medical technician in a very small town in the middle of Kansas for 4 years while I was in high school. When I got out of high school, I became a paramedic and worked in Kansas City, Missouri for 15 years. I worked elbow to elbow, lived elbow to elbow with firemen for all that time as we spent time in the firehouses together. I believe I have a fairly good understanding of the stresses that a fireman goes through. After leaving the emergency medical service, I became a pastor, and as a pastor, began to work with what's called a licensing, ordination, and consecration council. And for 6 years, I have worked with that council to recruit, train, and discipline pastors. And as I spoke to people about where I might serve well in the city of Enid, I explained that position to some people, and they said, that's pretty much what the fire and police councils do. And so I believe I have some experience on how to investigate issues when they come up, the right kinds of questions to ask, the right kind of resources to look at to see what should be done next. Over that whole time, I spent a lot of time in college. I'm one of those people who likes to learn. I took a lot of college courses just by the seat of my pants, and when I finally decided it was time to go and get a degree, I met with the people at the college that I was trying to enroll in, and they laughed at me, and they said, if you'd have let us guide your training, you could have got a master's degree 40 credits ago. So I've got a lot of meaningless education. But one of the things that I did get with my degree was a degree in human resources management. So I have some idea, although I haven't done much work in actual human resources management, I do have some ideas of what the legalities might be in dealing with some of the issues that the fire department commission might have to face. So hopefully I have summarized that well, and hopefully I made it brief enough that you can grasp it. And I am quite confident that tonight the Fire Civil Service Commission is going to get a good addition, whichever one of your candidates you choose. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Commissioners, I'll remind you to just select one candidate, and don't forget to circle your name down at the bottom. Fold your ballot, put it up on the ledge, and we will have it counted. Okay. While we wait on that, I'm going to move on to 4.10. Consider appointments to the Public Library of Enid and Garfield County Board of Directors. So, okay, we have several people that have signed up for this. There are 2 candidates that have signed up that are currently on that board that have requested to remain on the board. So I will start with Ruth Ann Miles.
Greetings, City Council. I was very, very pleased to be appointed to the Library Board the first time, so much so I knew nothing, had never made a motion, never seconded a motion, so I made it a point to go to a Robert's Rule of Order seminar so that I would be versed in how meetings are run, and that was just very, very enlightening. I've helped develop library policies. I've encouraged the transparency of the library, and I'm eager to serve a second term. So I thank you very much for your vote.
Thank you. Our next candidate is Brooke Anderson.
Thank you for your time and the opportunity to speak tonight. I spent 10 years in 4-H, pledging my hands to larger service for my club, my community, my country, and my world. I want to continue offering my time and my hands for service with my Enid community. Enid has a median age of 34.8, which if you aren't fresh on your stats, that means half the population is younger than 34.8. And as someone who falls into that population, I believe our library board, and other boards for that matter, should have someone to represent this portion of Enid's population. While I am young, I do have experience as president of an executive board of a 300+ member student organization at Ohio State University. I was president of our student org for Paws for Ability, where we partnered with a nonprofit to foster and train service dogs for children and veterans with disabilities. As a member of the exec board, we did a lot more than other exec boards for normal student organizations. Not only were we in regular contact with the nonprofit, making sure our members complied with their rules, we also had lots of interactions with the university student housing, professors, and staff. We were 318 to 22-year-olds running around campus with 40+ puppies at one point. We had to have rules in place for the dog safety, student safety, respect to campus facilities, and still protect the rights that we had as volunteer trainers protected under Ohio and federal law. Being a leader in this organization has helped give me training to confidently sit on boards today. I have immense respect and support for the public library system as the daughter of an English teacher and an avid reader and book club member myself. I do not support censorship. I believe our library board has done a great job over the past few months with the challenges that they have faced. There's a difference between censoring and banning books and simply moving them to age-appropriate sections. I understand age-appropriate can mean different things for different families, and our librarians do a great job utilizing resources such as publisher and author and educator guidelines on age recommendations. And we have a very democratic system set up that gives the public the chance to voice their opinions and request books be moved if they believe necessary. It would be an honor to serve on the library board and help support our library staff as they provide so much more than just books for our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Robert Falk. Norman Gray.
Mayor and Board of Commissioners, this is my fourth shot at trying to get on this dadgum library board. Last time I broke through and I got a vote from Commissioner Norwood, and he now has his photograph on my Hall of Fame in my living room. And I planted a evergreen out in my yard in his honor. So anyway, I noticed that the two people that are already on the library board have reapplied, and that's great. I don't have any heartburn with the job. I've gone to many of the meetings, but I do think it's good to get some fresh faces on these boards and give opportunities to other people. And so I remain ready, willing, and able to serve on this board. In this day of all these questions of challenged books and censorship and this sort of thing, I think it might be handy to have a lawyer and a retired judge on the library board. Thank you.
Thank you. Vicki Haywarden.
Actually, Mr. Mayor, I signed up for that many weeks ago, and I got on the committee since then, and my cousin's now on the council, and I don't know how that works, so I'm going to pass for this one, but thank you.
Okay. All right. Carly Miller. Huh? Charlie. I did that last time too. Charlie Miller. I must have made him mad last time. I said Carl. Okay. Douglas Newell. Katina Sandoval. Stephen Rutledge. Stephen currently holds one of those positions, other two.
Hello, Mayor and Commissioners. My name is Stephen Rutledge. I've been serving on the library board for a long time, it seems. I really enjoyed it. I think it's been challenging. There's a lot of things that we've had to kind of wrestle through, and I think calm, open hearts has really helped us do that, and I'd like to continue doing that. I also wanted to just remind everyone one of the reasons why we're here. So I'm joined by my daughter, Lily, who completed her 1,000 books before kindergarten challenge a year early. And might get to 2,000 before kindergarten, I don't know, we're close. But if you would, I would welcome the opportunity to serve again. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Christy Balden. Marianne Gray. Keith Hagden. Angela Krieger. Okay.
Good evening. Congratulations, Commissioner Patterson. I want to especially say that. I am from Ward 1. I had submitted my application for the first time in late 2023, and when I received the call, is my application still active? Of course, yes. I am the mother of 3, 11, 8, and 6, and in our household there is commonly disagreements that happen, and so in those disagreements we need to come to a compromise. And I have found that in our house, compromise happens best whenever everyone's voice has been heard. And so I feel that that applies. I'm a veteran educator of almost 20 years, and I feel that making sure that your voice is heard and acknowledged has been very beneficial in running a smooth classroom as well as a smooth house. And also my 11-year-old will soon be 12. Next month is her birthday. And so she is in that age group of the YA that has been under so much discussion, and that has created a discussion between her and I about what is appropriate for her to read as a now 11-year-old, but not necessarily in that group of YA reading. So that's where the parent involvement comes into play. That's been so important, and that's not up to the library to decide what she should read. That's my discussion with her about what's appropriate. So I feel like I have that perspective, having a YA in my house myself. So thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Carrie Moorhead. Michael Rich. And Holly Terry. I do have a public comment signed up to speak on this topic, so before we vote, Ronnie Jenkins, you wanted to speak about the library board?
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. Ronnie Jenkins, 1729 South Johnson. Tonight, you will make a decision on 2 of the 12 applications to the Public Library of Enid and Garfield County Board of Directors. There are some well-qualified applicants with very impressive resumes. With 12 applicants, 2 of them have served on the library board and have reapplied and have shown their qualifications by consistently making decisions on books deemed appropriate in sections that are for the correct age groups. Now, we have 10 more applicants who would like the opportunity to serve when in the past it was hard to even get a few to apply. I wouldn't be a good one because I don't like to read. I actually, when I read my Bible, I actually have an app that reads it to me and I follow along. And anyway, remember as you make your decision that the plains of America is considered the Bible Belt of America. So remember, God's Word cannot be changed to fit the narratives of this world. So the people that are serving on this board, they need to be people that are good servant people. I believe reading is good for all, but tough decisions have to be made for the safety of all who visit our library. So good luck on your decisions tonight.
Commissioners, I will ask you to select 2 candidates, and then, as usual, circle your name at the bottom. Okay, on civil service, I'll say this every time, it's so important that we get good candidates to apply for these positions. Unfortunately, sometimes we can only fill one at a time. So keep applying, Norman. Wait, we haven't pulled the votes yet. Okay. But on the Civil Service Board tonight, Dalen McVeigh had 4 votes, Michael Summerfield had 3. And I want to read who voted for who. On McVeigh was Saragusa, Stallings, Orr, and Mason. On Summerfield was Patterson, Norwood, and Roberts. So thank you so much, and congratulations, Dalen. Appreciate it. Okay, while they're tallying those, I want to move on to 4.11. 4.11. So we assign different commissioners to different boards, and they are voting positions. Fortunately, as mayor, I get to appoint them, and then the commission approves those commissioners to sit on those boards. That being said, we don't actually have to do a ballot.
Mayor, I make a motion that we accept Craig Steverson and yourself to serve on that board.
Okay, I'm not to that one yet. You're one ahead of me.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So a couple changes that we'd made was on Ward 1, I have asked Commissioner Patterson to serve on the Public Arts Commissioner PACE. The CDSA, the Community Development Support Association, as well as the 911 Board of Enid, Garfield, and Major County. So that will be a vote. And then on for Ward 3, made one small change. Keith Saragusa, I've asked him to currently remain on Community Development Block Grant, or the CDBG, stay on the 911 Board of Enid, and also to take on the Long-Term Care Authority of Enid. So with no comment, I'm going to call for a motion that we accept these nominations, please.
I make a motion that we accept these nominations.
I second.
I have a motion and a second. Please cast your ballots. Motion passes 7-0. So thank you, commissioners, for serving on those boards. Okay, on the make sure I'm not reading it.
I guess I mixed you up, huh?
It's okay. That's all right. Okay, on the library board, Stephen Rutledge received 6 votes. Brooke Anderson received 4. Norman Gray received 3. Oh, and Ruth Ann, paperclip. Ruth Ann Miles received 1. So let me read who voted for each one of the candidates. For Stephen Rutledge was Patterson, Saragusa, Robert, Stalling, Orr, and Mason. For Ruth Ann Miles was Orr. For Brooke Anderson was Norwood, Saragusa, Roberts, and Mason. And for Norman Gray was Patterson, Norwood, and Stallings. So Stephen Rutledge, thank you for continuing to serve. Brooke Anderson, welcome to the library board. So thank you, and all the other candidates, please keep signing up. Okay. On 4.12, consider approval of 2 votes for nominees on the City of Enid's ballot in the 2024 Oklahoma Municipal Assurance Group Board of Trustees election. So what this is, so you know, this the Oklahoma Municipal Assurance Group Board is OMAG. That is who we get all of our insurance through, and not just Enid, but most of the municipalities throughout the state. There are 2 openings on that. I was asked to be on that. That's why I'm on the ballot. But there are 2 positions. So tonight, Enid has to cast our ballot that then goes into the state, and they cast their ballots on how many of those votes came in. So this isn't a local board, just so you know what I'm trying to say. So.
Well, now I cast a make a motion.
You would like to?
Yes.
Okay.
To vote for you, yourself and Craig Stevenson to serve on this board.
I have a motion.
Second it.
Motion and a second. Please cast your ballot. Okay, motion passes 7-0. So thank you for your vote, by the way. I'm going to move on to 5.1. We're going to hear an appeal from Garrick and Stephanie Friesen regarding a use by review application granted to Jeff and Kelly Gwynn requesting to utilize the property at 1402 West York Avenue, zoned R2 or residential single family district, more particularly described as Lot 7, Block 4, Haney's second edition, as a private clubhouse, and make a determination. Scott?
I'm just going to briefly give you an update, and then I'm going to step out of the way and let the Friesens and the Gwynns have their time to talk about this appeal. But how we got here, a little perspective on the properties. This middle section right here is the property that we're talking about for a use by review. This is where Mr. Gwynn lives, who owns this property, and the Friesens, who have appealed the decision, live here surrounded by blue. So what Mr. Gwynn would like to do, he would like to build a multi-use sports court on that property. He's got a plan there. Here's what is up there currently. And in this particular zoning, in each zoning there are uses by right, and then there are uses that need a review. And so the permitted uses here are primarily for single-family dwellings or parks. And a use by review would be needed for a church or a child care or a private clubhouse, public library, other things like that. Here's our definition for a private clubhouse: a building or grounds, the principal use of which is recreational, including culinary and bathing uses, but excluding temporary or permanent residence for sleeping facilities and the sale of intoxicating beverages. So he has gone through and filled out a use by review application February the 10th. We posted a sign up on the property to notify anyone around that there was going to be a use by review. And then on March the 18th, it went through the Planning Commission agenda as a hearing, and they approved this use by review. There were no complaints during the hearing. No one came to the hearing to sign up on it. There was unanimous approval. And then on the 25th of March, we received a written appeal from the Friesens. And so it is within their rights to request that it be brought before this board, and that's what we're doing tonight. So hopefully that's just a brief catch-up on why we're here, and I'm going to remind you, you have several choices here in front of you on what your options could be. You could deny it, you could approve it, you can modify it, or you could return it back to MAPC. If you decided to put conditions or modifications on it, these are some of the things that you could require, or are special rules about the hours of operation or when the lights can be on, etc. They can be whatever you want. These are just a few examples. So I will now step out of the way and let Stephanie Friesen come up and explain whatever it is that she'd like to visit with you about. He's got your video right there if you want. Whatever you want to play.
Thank you.
Good evening, City Council members, Mayor, city officials. I'm just nervous. I'm not about to cry, I promise. Stephanie and I would like to thank those of you that took time to meet with us in person and over the phone the last couple weeks. We understand the appeal process is there for a reason, and we would like to make note that due to the uniqueness of the use by review, and we are new to this whole process, as I'm sure everybody here would be, and likely to never go through it again, that looking back, we would have made a larger effort to appeal to the correct board first. From the public notice posted on York, which we live on Wabash, as you saw, it stated that an appeal is not available until after a decision is made by the M8PC. So we therefore did not realize, of course we wish we had a time machine, that we had a voice in the matter prior to or at the M8PC meeting. So now, the use by review by the M8PC has 5 listed requirements to satisfy prior to granting an application. After watching the meeting online, we did not feel the Commission's primary condition for authorization was properly vetted. The very first listed condition is the quote, effect on adjacent properties. The proposed use will not adversely affect the use of adjoining or adjacent properties when operated in accordance with all required conditions. To date, the only specific condition provided us by city officials imposed on a private clubhouse is the prohibition of alcohol sales on the premises. To be clear, the Gwynn's private residence is not an adjoining property. And according to Google Maps, their home is approximately 220 feet from the south fence entrance of the property, with ours being about 75 feet from the north end. During the meeting, there was zero questioning surrounding, in my opinion, the 2 most obvious potential points of contention: excess noise and lighting produced by a dedicated sports court and their detrimental effects on the adjacent properties adjoining. Secondary concerns of ours include the marketability and, frankly, the value of the property if we were to move. If you were attending an open house and there was an ongoing game of pickleball out back, would this create a cause of concern? Please keep this in mind as we watch a short news report.
Pickleball courts are going up like crazy, but a lot of cities don't have specific rules or ordinances in place when building them.
Yeah, folks in one Utah neighborhood say it is turning their lives upside down and something needs to change. Man, what a view, huh? What you're looking at here is by far the biggest park in Stansbury. It's beautiful, right? You got the walkways, the trees, the grass. Seriously, there's like 30 acres of peaceful open space. So, why is there one small corner? And I can hear the thunk, thunk, thunk. In all this open land, it's the ping, 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 ping. No! With pickleball courts literally just feet away from these holes.
Yeah, we were actually the first ones to move in the final phase, and so we actually saw this place get built.
Now that right there is Bryce Monk, and says when he built this home nearly a decade ago, the space on the other side of his fence,
so it was actually curbed and guttered for a parking lot,
did not have pickleball courts in the plans. But as the sport gained in popularity, so did the requests for courts.
They just moved forward very quickly for these courts to go in.
Okay, now I want to pause here for a moment, because when Bryce is talking about he's actually talking about the Stansbury Service Agency, or the SSA. It is a government agency with 6 board members making decisions on this and other parks. One of those decisions revealed in this 2020 grant application, showing a map of the neighborhood. You got the park with a circle and a big fat arrow saying, quote, "This area has been reserved for the construction of pickleball courts for several years."
It is amazing how loud that really is.
But when you talk with some of the neighbors,
When this went in, it was a complete shocker to us.
they say it was never clear
They didn't tell us it was coming in.
of the effects these courts would have on their lives. The sounds, the volume, and the repetitive noise.
There are no rules. There are many variables to take into consideration.
Carl Schmitz is managing director for USA Pickleball and says one of the variables that needs to be taken into account are noise ordinances. For Porterway Park, USA Pickleball says a court should be 100 feet from homes.
They look at where they might be located relative to the homes nearby and start to just work some calculations.
Calculations that were never worked out. The SSA admitting a sound study was never done. So, 68.2, 51.7, 67.3. The KSL investigators began working their own calculations near the neighborhood fence line closest to the courts. 65.2, 65.0, 67.2. In Tooele County, the noise ordinance shows a max of 65 decibels. And with every smack of the paddle, 65.3, 66 flat, 68.1. Most of the readings we got were within that range, give or take a few. But the ordinance also mentions repetitive, impulsive noise.
I don't know exactly the definition of impulsive, but it seems pretty impulsive to me. It also mentions repetitive. It sounds pretty repetitive to me.
The SSA would not talk to us on camera, but did issue a statement saying before the Porterway Park courts were built, the idea was discussed in multiple public meetings, and a board member even knocked on doors and consulted residents in the neighborhood about the project. No residents expressed concern about the project, end quote. But after the courts were built, it wasn't just the noise.
They're horrible bright.
The biggest thing is I can't go to sleep.
Interrupting the lives of those nearby. Every night as the sun begins to set, another issue comes to light.
And now we come out and you have this glow over the houses.
A glow some of the neighbors say is finding its way into their homes up until 10 o'clock at night.
I can't sleep in that bed. So we've moved our bedroom downstairs.
Because of complaints, the SSA says they have tilted the lights and installed shields to block the lights from nearby homes. While neighbors say the adjustments have slightly helped,
nobody should have to put up with this.
It is clear the overall issue has not been solved. Still, trying to understand with nearly 30 acres of open land.
So from this window to that light post is 50 feet.
Why they built the kitchens on these courts within an earshot away of the kitchens in these homes.
All right, 612.
All right, so in their last public meeting, Stansbury Service Agency said that they're going to do an actual sound study to see if any changes will actually be made. Telling KSL, quote, "The concerned residents are more than welcome to raise money to move or enclose the courts. If they do that, I would imagine the board would be happy to arrange it," end quote.
Oh, boy. Wow.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound very amenable.
No, that's a pretty bold statement there. But this is something that you're going to see probably as more and more of these courts are built, because again, they are so close. It is a constant noise throughout the day. You're talking from 6, 7 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock
Right,
at
there's
night.
such a demand and people want them,
Yeah.
and yet where do they go?
Where's the right
they
place
need
for them,
some
right?
policies, right. That's a tough one. Thanks.
Thank you. So, thank you for watching that with us. From this and other stories from around the country, we can hope for the best, but we feel obligated to plan for the worst. If allowed to continue, it is our understanding our only protections are generic nuisance complaints. Unlike parks and sports complexes around Enid, there are no regulations surrounding the use of a private clubhouse outside of the prohibition of alcohol sales. Therefore, our house and adjoining properties are unprotected. The property owners can say they'll only use the court at appropriate times and be courteous to their neighbors, but who is going to hold them accountable to that? What about their guests? What about future owners? Like us, people often equate pickleball noise with tennis, basketball, or even a swimming pool, but this is not the case due to the equipment used and the frequency produced. For instance, at 100 feet, pickleball registers around 70 decibels, while tennis is closer to 40. And we have handouts to go with what we're saying. According to Dr. Lance Willis, the principal acoustic engineer for S&W Acoustics and Noise Control out of Tucson, pickleball noise can be irritating for neighbors because of its impulsive nature. In lay terms, that means it's a sharp sound that can pierce even high levels of ambient noise. Sound barriers like walls or fence covers can help, but their impact is limited. His firm believes extensive sound mitigation is often required for homes within 150 feet and discourages courts within 100 feet of residences, just like the USA Pickleball. Data from Bob Unitic, an avid pickleballer, certified ref and founder of Pickleball Sound Mitigation LLC, found that the average sound needs to be kept below 50 decibels to the nearest home. That equates to about 500 to 977 feet from a house in a wide open space. On Saturday, we were able to confirm with the Gwynns that we could hear Mr. Gwynn playing on his current driveway over 400 feet away through multiple obstructions. Remember, our house is roughly 75 feet from the proposed court with 15-foot LED lights. And I hope you're able to take the time to research any of the hundreds of news articles from around the country depicting the troublesome effects and litigation surrounding courts near residential housing. We found it to be quite staggering.
All right. We moved into our house about 3.5 years ago with an empty lot behind ours, with the understanding a house could be built there. We purposely did not consider a house next to a park or a sports complex. It is apparent after visiting with others this is a widely held sentiment. We strongly feel an adjoining private sports court could negatively affect the value and marketability of our home. When speaking with multiple council members and city officials, some have brought up the possibility of compromise or imposing regulations on use. In our meeting Saturday morning with the Gwynns, and now Commissioner Patterson, it was made apparent to us Mr. Gwynn did not feel the need to follow city ordinances. He made comments when we met, he has built several fences without a permit and stated he did not feel he should have to get a permit to build on his own property. However, there are records of permits obtained for work at his primary residence. His position was confirmed when he did not obtain permits prior to starting construction on the clubhouse last summer and was subsequently issued a stop work order by the city in January. Mr. Gwynn also asserted regardless of tonight's vote, the clubhouse would be built one way or another, going as far to say he would sell the lot to an adjoining residence and lease back the clubhouse. Comments like these do not bring confidence that any opposed rules would be followed. To reiterate our email correspondence from Friday, at this point, over 6 months of work have been completed prior to our ability to appeal. The current status of the property should not be an influence in the decision-making, but has been proposed by some as grounds for approval. This process should have taken place last summer prior to any work being commenced. Coming back around to the primary requirement for approval, which is now at your hands, that the proposed use will not adversely affect the use of our home in any way, when operated in accordance with all required conditions. People can talk all they want about the rights to build a dedicated sports court in the middle of a neighborhood, but what about our rights to enjoy our home without infringement? We stood to be the ones to protect the comfort of our neighborhood, and we boldly ask you to uphold our appeal. And we thank you for your time and attention.
Before you sit down, are there any questions that any commissioners want to ask them while they're up here? Any questions? Okay. Okay.
Can I ask a question? So after the Gwynns talk, do we have time to rebuttal if we have anything to say, or them time to rebuttal?
Absolutely. I would listen to that. I mean,
Okay.
we want to get this right
Thank
for
you.
everyone. So, sure.
Thank you very much.
At this time, I'll ask Jeff and Kelly Gwynn, if they'd like to come up.
Good evening, council members, mayor, and city staff. My name's Jeff Gwynn. I'll be speaking on behalf of myself and my wife, Kelly. We're the owners of the property in question at 1402 West York, as well as the house across the street at 1420 Indian Drive. I believe everyone here has the timeline and notes that I sent last week, so just a really quick summary. In 2017, we demolished the house above and the pool on the property after determining they were a health hazard and a nuisance to the surrounding neighborhood that could not be salvaged. The lot sat unused for 6 years, with a couple of poor, unacceptable offers made for a rental home and an Airbnb. During that time, we kept it mowed and edged. This is what it looks like after we demolished the house and the pool. Last year, we decided that the best use of the property would be to develop it as an extension of our backyard for volleyball, pickleball, badminton, cookouts, etc., for our family and friends. We began work in the fall of 2023, cleared the lot, leveled the ground, poured the slab, built a new fence, and began building the control shed. On January 3rd, we learned that we would be out of compliance with R2, since we did not own one of the adjacent properties, and that the main structure, the shed, had less than the minimum required square footage for a standalone project. We also learned that we needed to pull permits for the fence and the shed. Miscommunication between me and my contractors. My property, my problem. This is how the site currently looks, as it currently sits. We worked with city staff to solve the issues, and it was determined that we could submit use by review application as a private clubhouse to remedy both the adjacency issue and the minimum square footage issue and move forward with the project and developing our property. We also pulled permits for the fence and shed. There's no permit required for the slab. The project cleared all requirements for the use by review and was reviewed and unanimously approved by MAPC on March 18th without public comment or dissent. And a note, the use by review has at least 2 existing precedents in Enid, tennis courts in the Rolling Oaks Estates, at Rolling Oaks area, and a pool with a bathhouse in Willow West. All right, this is a view looking west on York of the property before demolition. I wish we'd kept pictures of the backyard. It would make this view look like Augusta National. There was an open sewer shaped like a swimming pool with a tree 12-inch diameter growing in it, black water, green algae, snakes, rats, skunks, fleas, and mosquito swarm that made outdoor living unbearable for the surrounding neighborhood. Yep. We'll skip to page 3. This is an architect's rendering of the same view looking up York of the project upon completion. This is what it looks like in real life. This is our house across the street. It will be the exact same aesthetics and quality. So on to the project. That's from above, obviously. The design, sport court for basketball, pickleball, badminton, volleyball, etc. A control shed for electrical, security, lighting, and irrigation systems. A large wood, timber, shade pergola with either a metal or a shingled roof. Landscape to match our backyard at 1420 Indian. Street-facing iron fence with turf and flower beds. Gravel and plantings around the court and structures. And tailored junipers around the entire interior fence line. And tailored junipers are those 20-foot tall trees that we have around our house right now. Security and privacy considerations. It's gated and locked. Kelly and I will have sole access to the property. Security system with motion detection. Lights controlled by an app. Only I can turn them on. If they're left on with no one there, they will automatically shut off at 8 o'clock. I can override if necessary. The lights are zero edge, meaning all light goes down to the court. It doesn't bleed out of the sides of the fixtures. Again, there's tailored junipers that will grow to 20 feet to muffle sound and light. The lights that are at 15 feet, so well below those junipers. There's a perimeter soft wood double fence with an 8-inch air gap to further muffle sound. So why that's important, it's like a double pane window. So the first fence is the one we built on the interior. It's made out of soft wood. It muffles sound. The air gap baffles any sound that gets past that fence. And then the second fence is the fences that were already there that will block more sound coming through the other side. We will also respect Councilman Norwood's suggestion that we put up a sign noting it's private, its hours of use, and the rules of behavior. Except for the sign, these were all parts of the original design spec before any of this came about. Okay, so equipment. USA Pickleball is constantly researching and evolving equipment standards to improve noise reduction. They're aware of the problem, and they're constantly working on it. They want the sport to grow. Last year, they authorized an OWL product quiet paddle that are 50% quieter than the current paddles on the market. We purchased 4 of them. So, on to the sound issue, and I'm going to pivot to the noise discussion. I'd like to establish an upper bound for noise in the current city ordinances that are everyday use and enforcement. This is a study commissioned by the City of Vancouver for the sound impact of outdoor basketball courts on the surrounding neighborhood. And I'll explain why basketball in a moment. A dribbled basketball, 67 to 75 decibels. I'll get to the findings real quick to prove it's there. 67 to 75 decibels at courtside. Ball off the backboard and rim, 69 to 74 decibels. Continuous game average reading at 25 feet is 71 decibels. Note there's been no evolution of basketball equipment since the study, so we can count on these numbers to be true now. So why basketball? Basketball is played all over Enid in backyards and driveways without violating current noise ordinances. Since outdoor half-court basketball has been documented to have an average sustained noise level of 71 decibels with peaks of 75 at 25 feet, we can assume that that's an acceptable noise level for backyard activities in Enid, Oklahoma. So the other night, we conducted about as official of a sound study as that news program with some colleagues and I on the court with our current equipment, which is not the quiet equipment. We measured from courtside, back court, behind the fence, and 10 feet behind the fence, which is 25 feet from the court, to be consistent with the Vancouver study. We measured 4 rounds of 6 rallies with a final hard put-away shot at each distance to obtain an average and max reading. Our findings. The ambient noise level in Enid, Oklahoma on a windy spring night is from 47 to 51 decibels. That's just standing there with a noise meter in your hands. 92 decibels if you have a T-38 flyover, which did occur. Maximum decibels per shot, 68.9 at courtside. That's at courtside. Average decibels, 51.3, 10 feet behind the fence, just above ambient levels. The noise fell within margin of error of ambient levels at 25 feet from the court and behind the fence, meaning they nearly blended in with background. These findings are corroborated by a current neighbor 30 feet away who's on record with y'all with a note she sent, stating that they hear nothing when we play, including that Saturday in question. Note that the highest of these readings are under those established for the basketball by the Vancouver study. Conclusion. We have made every effort to blend this project into the neighborhood and enhance the neighborhood's value. Every project that we have done in this neighborhood over the last 24 years has been undertaken with minimizing the impact on our neighbors' privacy and enjoyment of their property and enhancing everyone's property values. This one is no different. We have met every criteria set forward by Use by Review. We believe that we have established that this project falls well under the acknowledged current thresholds of city ordinances for light and noise. We therefore encourage this council to deny the appeal and approve the MAPC recommendation for Use by Review without restriction other than those already provided for in city ordinances for light and noise. Thank you for your consideration.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions?
I do have a question. Have you made some changes in what you were going to do since we spoke on Saturday? For instance, a second line of trees. Did I hear you say that?
Those were in the design from the start, from the architect's renderings. So they've been there from the very beginning.
Okay.
The only change, and this was already in place when you and I spoke, was Mr. Norwood's recommendation for a sign.
Okay.
Are the trees going to go along the backside also?
Yeah, they go around the entire perimeter. Oh, go back forward. They go around the entire perimeter. So they go in front of the front fence for aesthetics. It's a wrought iron fence. And then they go on the court side of the inside, around the perimeter. Same as they do at our house, about every 2.5 feet. They grow 20 feet tall, they muffle sound, they muffle light, that's why we planted them. Our property on Indian is very exposed, so that's why we planted those trees, and they work.
I have another question, and I know you brought this up Saturday, but I just want the rest of the board to hear. What was the reason that you couldn't move the cement, the concrete, further south and take it a little bit further away?
There's a
from-
setback issue about how close or how far things need to be from the street.
Okay.
Yeah.
If this commission come up with restrictions as far as timeline that it could be played inside of a residence, because I'm not just concerned about this one, I'm concerned about where else we might have to deal with this moving forward. Would you be receptive to that?
Excuse me. Certainly, we'd be receptive to that. As I stated, excuse me, as I stated, I believe we're well under city ordinance for noise and light already. But if the council and the MAPC feels like they need to impose further restrictions, sure. We're good neighbors. We've got a room full of good neighbors back here that attest to that fact.
And I just wanted to mention, as far as the decibels go, it's not just the decibel level, but it's also the repetitive and impulsive noise that comes from a pickleball game.
I agree, and pickleball has about a shot every second, where a basketball dribble, it's about 3 to 4 per second. So if one talks about repetitive and percussive, I would imagine many people in this room would loathe to be by a basketball court just as much as they would anything else. Basketball courts are everywhere, driveways, backyards, all over the city.
So is this going to be available to multiple neighbors
Absolutely
using that?
not.
So
Absolutely
what
not.
I'm understanding you tonight is, it is just you and your wife that will be playing on this
Or
court?
guests that we invite over, as we do right now.
Are there going to be any tournaments played up there?
No, sir. We're 61 years old. I mean, we do this for kicks and giggles. No tournaments.
Okay. Other questions?
Well, just a statement that while they may not play tournaments, we are setting a precedent. If we do this pickleball court, I've already heard from somebody that is waiting on this decision because they're considering a pickleball court at their house. And so I think as a board, we need to set a precedent, set up some guidelines on this, and not just based on what Jeff and Kelly are proposing, but based on going forward, what if we get a whole bunch of these?
Well, certainly. I believe that probably is maybe even a referendum issue at some point if we're changing. But that's what you decide is what you decide. I would note that the video, those were at least 6 courts with an open chain link fence with players on it constantly. I think, as our neighbors can attest, we play once a week, maybe twice a week if there's no wind, for a few hours. That's what we do. It's not constant. It's not full. Nighttime play would be rare. And to the complainant's point, you have to take my word for it. But my word's good, and we will stick to these.
I think I come near taking your word on it if you would have pulled the permit like everyone else does.
Well, we have pulled the permit, and the reason
Now
we
you
did
have.
now we
Now you
have.
have.
We pulled it for a fence and a shed.
Yeah.
That was a miscommunication between my contractor and myself about who had to pull them, what needed to be pulled. As I said, my project, my responsibility, my fault. We've remedied the issue, and we certainly respect the need to pull permits for projects.
Were you getting ready to say something?
Oh, I'm just listening.
Oh, okay. Well, I think it would be cognizant of the council to just, until May the 7th, to table this until May the 7th, so that we will be able to get some specifics, timelines and everything else. I appreciate the fact that you have everything set up that I asked of you, and this is phenomenal. I mean, it's beautiful. The main thing is I just want to make sure, like Councilman Patterson said, that we don't end up in a situation to where we just have them popping up all over the place. I mean, this is, it's beautiful. And you've done a beautiful work here, but I just want to be fair and make sure as a council that we have the guidelines in order that we can agree to, you know, moving forward. So I would say that we table it until May the 7th, which is only 3 weeks.
Understood.
To take care of business and make it fair. And also, I'm gonna tell you what else I would like to see. I'd like to see you all as neighbors. I can't control anything. I'm not God, I'm just a man. But I hope that as neighbors, maybe an invite, you know, or get together and get along. You know, we've had a lot going on here in Enid, and Enid is a unique place, and we want to see our neighbors get along. You know, maybe your children can play over there one day, I don't know. But one thing I do know is that I want to make sure we have guidelines in order to where it would be fair to their family and any other family around the area. That's what I like to see.
All right, well, and it's certainly up to the council what they choose to do. I would add that if a home was on that property, a sport court could be built in that backyard without any regulation or thought from neighbors or this council. And it would not be as nice as this, nor as regulated as we plan on it to be, but the difference between what we have here and people playing on their driveway all over town, it's already going on all over town, is there's no house in front of it, which is what we've tried to remedy with use by review. So,
Mr. Gwynn, I would like to come over and just hear it. Is that okay?
Certainly.
Seriously, I want to come over and just
certainly.
get with you
Well,
and hear the noise.
Yeah, certainly.
To be fair to you and your family.
I concur.
Let's set up a time and get together.
Yeah, we could certainly. We certainly
That work?
can. I'm not sure when my quiet rack pad will show up, but you're welcome to listen with the loud ones because it's not that loud.
I've never done it before. I like to hit one.
All right. I'm there.
I really would.
I'm there for you.
I'm athletic now.
I'll take it easy on you.
I like to hit one. Don't hurt me.
I'm wiry, but I'm spry.
Okay.
Okay. Are you putting that in a motion?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We're making a motion to table it until May the 7th so that we can get together and refine this to where it'll be suitable for both parties.
Okay. All right.
At least make an attempt.
Okay. All right. I have a motion. I'm sorry.
Second.
And a second. Please cast your ballot to table this until May the 7th. Motion passes 7-0. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you both.
Point of clarification real quick. Is there anything else I need to prepare, any other data I need to show other than playing pickleball with Mr. Norwood?
Short of that, I will tell you, I'm just going to ask staff to try to do some research on this. You know, I'm not disputing your facts at all. I'd just like to have some data of our own.
Certainly.
And share that with the rest of the commission and then try to make a good judgment on it. That's all I want to do. So.
Sounds good.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to move to consent, but before I do, Commissioner Norwood, Senior, I'm sorry, I almost messed up on that. I'm thinking, okay. Okay. Now I'll move on. Before we go into consent, I have one person signed up to make a comment on 6.8 of the consent, so I want to do that before we actually vote, and that is Derwin Norwood Sr. If you'd like to come up and make a talk. Since this is an agenda item, please try to hold that at 3 minutes. Scott, if you'll.
It won't be that long, Mr. Mayor. We just thank God for you and the city council, and we've already got this resolved. I talked to Mr. Gilbert on this evening and Mr. Saragusa, so we've got it resolved.
That's it? That's all you got? Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much.
When do I start the timer?
Okay, so that being said, we're on consent. I'll look for a motion to approve.
Move to consent.
Second it.
I have a motion and a second. Please cast your ballots. Motion passes 7-0. Item number 7, recess to convene as the Enid Municipal Authority. All trustees are present of the Enid Municipal Authority. Item 9.1, approve the claims in the amount of $521,692.76.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Please cast your ballots. Motion passes 7-0. Item number 10, adjourn to convene as the Enid Economic Development Authority. All trustees are present. Item 12.1, approval of claims in the amount of $200,000.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Please cast your ballot. Motion passes 7-0. Item number 13, adjourn to convene as the Enid Transportation Authority. All trustees are present. Item number 15.1, approval of claims in the amount of $2,820.41.
Move that we approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Please cast your ballot. Motion passes 7-0. Item number 16, adjourn to reconvene as the Enid City Commission. Item number 17, public comments. I'll remind everybody, please address your comments directly to the whole group and hold your comments to 1 minute, please. Scott?
Sir.
Okay. Ruth Ann Miles.
Ruth Ann Miles, 1628 South Jackson Street. Surrender Your Sons by Adam Sass. In the middle school teenage section of the library. This is the book that is now suspending saucy story time because I will not read the graphic, explicit sexual depiction of 2 consenting teenage boys. Instead, I've been inspired by Reverend Vera Porter, Roger and Lauren Rhodes, and Wendell Shaw from the last City Hall meeting to read Scripture. Enid desperately needs deliverance by God. Mark 9:24, and whosoever shall offend one of these little ones that believe in me, it is better for him that a millstone were hanged about his neck and he were cast into the sea. City Hall, this book is offending to minors. Will you let this city commission have a millstone hung around its neck? Thank you for 60 seconds.
Ray Graves.
Morning, afternoon, excuse me, tonight.
Please state your name and your address,
My name
please.
is Ray Graves, 616 East York, in Oklahoma. I want to thank Commissioner and the PACE group also for getting the Martin Luther King there. When I mentioned before, when I first moved back to Enid in '96, all we had was that thing. So now we have more, and that's a blessing. Also, real quick, my brother and his girlfriend just moved back to Enid, and they've been gone close to about 5 years. And one of the things is they have been going through different spots here at Enid, and they are so happy to see the how Enid has grown since they have left just within 5 years. And I'm happy too. I'm thankful for that also. And there was something else I was going to say, but I can't remember. I'm sleepy. I'm tired. But I do want to say thank the board for everything. Thank everyone. We have to do as a community to keep growing. We just have to. Otherwise, we're going to be left behind. And all the other cities, I promise you, that they're going to take over. No, not over Enid, but they will get more of what Enid has. So as Enid, we have to come together as one.
Ray.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
Blessing.
Ronnie Jenkins.
Mayors, Commissioners, Ronnie Jenkins, 1729 South Johnson. After listening to Mr. Cooper and the Board of Commissioners study session and have already read the minutes from the VDA report on February 22nd, 2024, in regards to the solar farm, it appears very few know what could be done to protect Enid Garfield County. When this solar farm planning began in 2017, however, there are many avenues that have not been addressed, and transparency is the most important avenue. So the citizens of Enid Garfield County know exactly what they may face if the solar farm moves forward. Who do the citizens go to for their concerns or answers? Though you do not have jurisdiction outside the city limits, the MAPC does cover part of the proposed area, which to my understanding was rejected up to the boundaries of the MAPC. I like what I heard Monday evening at the MAPC and look forward to what they can try to do. And Mayor Mason and all of you, I have no animosity against any of you whenever I'm speaking. I'm just concerned for our city. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. John Bolt. Okay. Justin Rhodes. Please state your name and your address when you get up to the podium.
Yes, my name is Justin Rhodes, and my address is West Main, 218. I really can't see you guys, so it's hard to see anybody. But anyway, we are put on this planet to experience life, and that life is, the true life is Christ. To be conformed to His image, to live a life similar to His, a life of love and self-sacrifice, even to the pouring out of our own lives to benefit others. When we live this kind of life, we are actually living what we're supposed to be living to where God is pleased. In a sense, we're kind of like trees planted. You never see a tree eat its own fruit, but other people come to it, and that's what we are as trees. And the life we need to have in us is Christ and the crucified life.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Joanna Rhodes. Please state your name and your address.
My name is Johanna Rhodes, and I live at 1418 South Van Buren. This is 1 Samuel chapter 2. And Hannah prayed and said, "My heart rejoiceth in Yahweh. Mine horn is exalted in Yahweh. My mouth is enlarged over mine enemies. Because I rejoice in thy salvation. There is none holy as Yahweh. For there is none beside thee, neither is there any rock like our God. Talk no more so exceeding proudly. Let not arrogancy come out of your mouth, for Yahweh is a God of knowledge, and by him actions are weighed. The bows of the mighty men are broken, and they that stumbled are girded with strength. They that were full have hired out themselves for bread, and they that were hungry cease, so that the barren hath borne 7, and she that hath many children is waxed feeble. Yahweh killeth and maketh alive. He bringeth down to the grave and bringeth up. Yahweh maketh poor and maketh rich. He bringeth low, he lifteth up. He raiseth up the poor out of the dust." Praise the Lord.
Thank you. I think this is Leah Smith. I can't read the last. Oh, okay. Please state your name and your address.
Lee Smith, 4105 South 30th Street. Thank you, Scott Orr, for your service, and thank you for speaking out against the way the solar project has been handled by our leaders. I agree with much of what the mayor said tonight, and that is why it is of the utmost importance that our city officials operate in an ethical and transparent manner. This project will take money away from our local rural community by taking large amounts of cropland out of commission. The co-ops seed companies, neighboring homeowners, and landowners will be hurt, while just a few disconnected leasing landowners and a large Florida company owned by BlackRock and Vanguard will benefit. This is just one of many solar projects across our country, threatening to destroy hundreds of thousands of acres of crop ground. How long before our food supply is in danger?
Suzanne Hunter.
Suzanne Hunter, 4609 South Covered Wagon Trail. I want to thank Scott Orr for being willing to listen to the concerns of the citizens and the concerns of the pilots about the proposed solar complex. I've talked to pilots personally, and I've been told that they are extremely concerned about glare problems that can be caused from the massive solar panels. I have also talked to recently the wife of a pilot she thanked me for fighting against the solar panels because her husband flies, and she is very concerned about him flying over the solar panel glare, very concerned. They will not benefit Enid, like was brought up earlier. They will not enhance our city. You're talking about clean water. It will ruin my water well. The solar panels will contaminate our water, and the drinking water that you're talking about is so good in here. It will not be good for us.
Thank you. Nancy Presnell. State your name and your address, please.
Nancy Preston. I live at East Market Street, Ward 3 in Enid. Okay. The campaign for the April 2nd election brought together a coalition of all ages, races, parties, religions, and income groups, a rather unlikely coalition in today's political climate. Too often, these boundaries serve to divide us and pit us against one another. The Enid Social Justice Committee spearheaded efforts to not have a known white nationalist in our city government. I want to note we received tremendous support from the Oklahoma Democratic Party, phone banks, text banks, postcards, door-to-door plans, and more, basically overlooking party lines in a non-partisan race. My point, we have a real opportunity here to overlook what divides us and focus on what unites us. Enid did that on April 2nd. Now we have a Ward 1 commissioner who is worthy and who can be proud of. And we've sent a message to the world. There's no home for hate in Enid.
Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Rhonda Craig.
Rhonda Craig, 1118 Chancellor Drive. I'm here tonight crying out for our city. The solar panel project has sounded loud alarm bells to many of our concerned citizens. Not even the electricity that it would generate will come to Enid. I'm confident that you men and women of integrity on this council who love Enid as much as do I. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to ascertain that Enid is not as thriving as it once was, but rather has been wounded and is in a state of gasping for life. As Enid's guardians, you have the momentous power to either resuscitate our city or put another nail in its coffin. As you examine and evaluate the documented hazards and the undocumented benefits.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Laura Derrickson.
Hello.
My name is Laura Derrickson, and I live at 6100 East Hayward Road in Wacomas. I just wanted to say thank you to Councilman Scott Orr, an elected official, for having the courage to take the stance for expert pilots in our community. I also want to thank you for your service in the United States Air Force. My father was in the Air Force as well during the Vietnam War. I have personally heard from a current Air Force pilot his concern about the glare of the solar panels for the proposed solar project coming up. On a different note, I am appalled that citizens who take the time to attend these meetings are only allowed to speak their comments for 1 minute. I would like to see this changed to at least 5 minutes or more. Thank you.
Glenda Tobiason? Did I get close? Okay.
I am Glenda Tobiason. I live at 7715 East Southgate Road here in Enid. I want to thank Mr. Orr also. I'm going to follow the others and just give as much gratitude as we possibly can to him. Thank you for listening for the citizens of Enid or in Garfield County. There are many unanswered questions about these proposed solar complexes, which, whether it's the fire hazard, the danger to our pilots that fly at Woodring, the noise we're going to have when this comes in. Thank you for taking the time to gather all the information that you can, and we appreciate you, and God bless you.
And Vanessa Green?
My name is Vanessa Green, and I recently purchased the property at 105 North Grand, and I did that because I wanted to see a revitalization in Enid. And then I found out that we have now a solar farm that is coming in, and to me, the MPAC had very large concerns about it, but our city council went above and beyond and wrote letters and allowed it to go on and go forward. And that doesn't seem very transparent. In a day when transparency is talked about so much in government, I feel that we have been cheated. And I demand or ask for someone to show me why this is going to benefit Enid and how it's going to benefit a business that I propose to make in Enid to try to keep Enid alive and thriving. If you are detrimental to Vance Air Force Base, you will destroy Enid. And in the instance, you will destroy all of us and yourselves also.
Thank you. Item 18.1, consider convening into executive session at the recommendation of the city attorney pursuant to 25 Oklahoma Statute 307C-11 to confer on matters pertaining to economic development, including the creation and amendment of proposals to entice a department store and a movie theater to locate in Enid. As public disclosure of the matters discussed would interfere with the development of the proposal and impair the ability of the public body to proceed with these matters in the public's interest and reconvene into regular session to take any necessary action.
Mayor, before I make a motion, I want to hear from Colonel Ashcroft.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Is there permission to approach the podium?
Please, please.
This will be less than a minute. Ladies and gentlemen, Enid, I am the Deputy Commander of Vance Air Force Base. I'm not here to comment whether or not the solar farm should be built. The stance of Vance Air Force Base leadership is that we have no preference for or against the construction of the solar farm. That is for the residents of Enid and the county to decide. What I am here is to discuss the safety of our pilots. I want to assure the men and women of Enid that the safety of our pilots is the highest priority to the leadership at Vance. The DoD agency dedicated to these questions reviewed the project and determined that there would be no operational impact. I have also personally reviewed the glint and glare studies and geographic location of the facility. Colonel Throckmorton will not shy away from speaking out if he thought there was a safety issue. The pilot's safety will not be compromised regardless of which direction the city chooses on this project. Thank you for your time.
To executive session.
I have a motion.
Second.
And a second. Please cast your ballot. We will adjourn into executive session.